Warned by Congressman Barney Frank, act now to quell the turmoil in the bond markets, or Congress is going to have to step in.
Is that what's needed? Government intervention? Back now with our business all-stars. John Rutledge, first to you. As a libertarian, you'd hate to see government intervention right here, wouldn't you?
I sure would. You know, Barney Frank has a long history of using hearings for marketing purposes. I've testified in dozens of them myself. There's cameras in the back of the room. These guys get free airtime. This is a great topic. But the fact is, the problem with the bond market and with the mortgage market was one of failure of the technology that the finance business uses to set prices on these derivative securities. It's a fairly complicated technology called Black-Scholes. It's what brought down long-term capital management 10 years ago. And it's what created the current crisis here. Barney Frank is not going to repeal the laws of mathematics. So I think starting another Sarbanes-Oxley right in the middle of this crisis would be really dumb.
Mike, I mean, some people have compared that to the Sarbanes-Oxley, and let's go back to Mr. Spitzer for a second. But are we in that type of situation again?
Look, it's one of the rare times I think Barney Frank is right. I hold in my hand right here, right from the Federal Reserve website, from the discount window, the collateral they accept when they extend loans. The highest rated security, of course, is a Treasury bill where they will give you 98% of the face value. Municipal bonds, they'll give you 97%. There is no reason in the world. These are as safe as you could possibly get. There's no reason in the world that these securities are being rated down. You know, the rating agencies are a joke. They're terrible. You know, I worked at S&P. I mean, I got fired for telling them some of this stuff was going to blow up in a deep recession. We're not even in a recession.
We will be.
The Fed accepts this as collateral almost to the degree that it will take a
So what should be done, Mike?
Look, you gotta change the way they rate these things. You know, they give these things a tougher, harsher treatment because they say under our ordinary criteria they're going to be too good. So we can't go with that. We have to look at it.
Who in politics, in Congress, has the common sense and the expertise to do that sort of thing, Peter?
Well, nobody. I mean, nobody in government can do that. We don't want government to get involved in that. Remember, these problems are the result of bad monetary policy. We don't want to use bad fiscal policy now. But, you know, these
there's nothing to do with fiscal policy. What are you talking about? S&P has the ability to destroy a state's finances because a couple of analysts in a back room are saying, oh, now it deserves a double A instead of a triple A.
All right, let him make his point. You know,
his point's wrong.
Hold on. We've already got, one of the counties up in Northern California is already teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. They haven't filed already. I think you're going to see a lot of these municipalities in this recession going through potential bankruptcies because they bloated up their bureaucracies during the housing boom. The revenues aren't going to be there in the recession. They're not going to get the sales taxes. They're not going to get the property taxes. And I think people do want insurance on a lot of these bonds because they buy a whole bunch of them and they want to make sure, well, gee, you know, at least we have something beyond the government's promise to pay. Because in a recession, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yarn, I see you. You're over there shaking your head.
Well, I mean, I'm sitting here in Orange County. Have we forgotten that Orange County went bankrupt not that long ago? Of course, these municipalities and counties can go bankrupt. Some of them do need insurance. The solution is not more regulation. The regulations are what have failed us so far. The solution is less regulation. The solution is to encourage competition among these rating agencies. Get rid of the licensing requirements that the government imposes on them. Let the best the best of these companies rise to the top instead of leaving it to regulators to decide who can and who cannot rate these kind of instruments.
So
less regulation is almost always the solution.
Has ever said, let's get competition into the rating business. That's the first smart thing he ever said. I'll even agree with you on that one. You're right.
And then maybe we'll get some
then get rid of the regulators, Mike.
I said maybe we'll get them downgrades with treasuries. I can't understand why they're still AAA.
Yarn, I have to ask you, though, look at Vallejo up in Northern California. There's a city, example like Orange County, it's skirting bankruptcy. They might be out of money as we speak right now.
Well, but you know, the reason is simple. The reason is that in the good times when they're collecting lots of taxes, they spent like crazy. They promised everybody these amazing pensions. Every municipal employee was getting these amazing pensions, and they're running out of money as the economy slows. They can't collect as much money from us, and they're getting into trouble, real trouble. And you're going to see this across the board. Look at the whole state of California. The whole state of California is running a $16 billion deficit. And Schwarzenegger at least has the guts to say,
yeah, but how big of a percentage of the gross state
across the board of
California's $1 trillion economy, so it has a $16 billion deficit. Was that 1.6% of its gross state product? You got to put it in context.
And we should remind everybody that there are not bankruptcies as of right now. We haven't seen the bankruptcies. Some neighborhoods are in trouble, Jefferson County, Alabama, and others, but no bankruptcies as of yet.